Nosey Nancies is a true crime podcast based in Austin, Texas. If you are sensitive to any of the trigger words, this is not the podcast for you. Due to its graphic nature, listener discretion is advised.
Somewhere between the sandy and again. Well, I was just pretending that it's all just a dream. A little condescending to believe in it. I'm getting the notion that I'm going all in.
Hey, all you nosies. I'm Alequah.
And I'm Jasmine, and welcome to Episode 1, Season 2, Nosey Nancies and the Lone Star Cold Cases.
Yeah, we decided we're going to start naming them by season because we want to look more professional.
So hopefully you'll think it's very professional of us and applaud Alequah because it was her idea.
Whatever. We already know. I'm not fooling nobody.
That you're not professional?
Are you kidding? Do you know what my car has on the air caps right now?
Oh, yes.
Penises. Do you think
I saw that.
Do you think professional podcasters drive around with little plastic penises on their tires? I don't think so.
Well, I remember when you had the Geo Metro, you wrote sexual after the Metro. Do you remember your little Geo Metro?
Yeah.
That was so cute.
I love that little thing. I got like 45 miles to the gallon. I'm not joking.
It was amazing. I want one.
It was. I know. What was so awesome about that particular one, too, it was a 4-door, which, like, most Geo Metros weren't 4 doors. Like, all the ones I've seen were, like, 2 doors. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it had, like, a cute little hatchback.
Yeah, it had the little hatchback. It was so cute.
I don't know why I ever sold it.
I don't know.
Also, what was crazy about that, its little computer was, like, malfunctioning. So I had to, like... I had to manually like shift it from first to second or something, even though it was an automatic.
I know. It was a little scary, but honestly, it was super cute. Like, I wanted one so bad.
I did write sexual under Metro, and you know what? It's probably still on it today.
It probably is. Did anybody else notice if you didn't point it out? Probably.
I think so, because I used to, well, it was on the sides. And I used to get, like, honks. Like, people would honk at me. Uh-huh. And it could be because I was a terrible driver, but I really think it's because, they probably thought I was a genius. And were like, honk, honk, you're a genius. And I was like, I know.
Right?
Oh, they loved me. The wind blowing through my hair, going 45 miles an hour because that's as fast as it would go. But really, they're just honking at me because it can only go 45 miles on the highway.
I have a sticker on the back of my car that says, I love cats, but the cat's pink, so it's open to interpretation. But nobody, like, honks at me or mentions it to me or...
That is open for interpretation.
Yeah, but it means I love cats to me.
You know what I wish? If I had 3 wishes, my number 1 wish would be to be asexual. 95% of my problems would be non-existent if I just did not care about men.
No.
And their devil magic.
Devil magic.
So there's, like, been nothing going on with the Lady Bird Lake killings at all. Like,
yeah, because they're terrified that we gave so much coverage and now everybody knows the scoop.
Listen, call me egotistical, but I think so. I think we saved Austin from drowning.
So too.
Where's our raise for that?
Yeah, go ahead and get a certificate or something. Yeah, maybe even a little. You know what? I'd be okay with a whistle. A little
that'd be cool. Whistle.
No, yeah.
That'd be so cute. Yeah. So now when people are honking at me because I have penises on my hubcaps, I can just whistle back at them and say, this is a legitimate police whistle, and please don't fuck with me.
Yeah, exactly.
Austin's doing good.
Good.
As far as that goes, it's not doing good with the missing people. Like, there's been a plethora of missing people in Pflugerville, out of all places.
Yeah, I have seen that. Yeah, and Pflugerville's pretty small.
Yeah, compared to
Austin, for sure.
Well, Pflugerville, I think, is considered like the Austin metropolitan area. So I guess
Yeah, yeah.
so it might get lumped in with Austin. But yeah, I mean, comparatively, it's small, I would say. But there's been a rash of of missing teens and women in Pflugerville. It's bizarre.
I
But
feel
what?
I feel like we've posted some of those since the break, haven't we?
Yeah, I've been trying to post a little bit about it. I've been super busy. I don't know if you saw on Facebook, but I went with the lady who runs the Awesome Missing Persons group
Uh-huh.
on Facebook.
Yeah.
Margolin is her name. Yeah, I went on a little underwater excursion and
Oh, nice.
also with another guy named Jason who has his own like little side project. He's like a retired law enforcement officer, and he has these two underwater drones.
Okay.
Yeah, and he like puts them underwater on your little phone. You can see like the video of like
What's going on under the water?
yeah. And there wasn't a lot. There was just mainly
A
just
lot of
seaweed,
nothing.
but a lot of
Interesting.
nothing. Yeah. But he's gone to like other states and found like cars that have been underwater of people that have been missing for years,
Oh,
you know, and
really?
like yeah, yeah. So he does a lot of good. So if anybody's interested or has a loved one that's been missing, or if they have a hunch about something, like y'all can get in touch with us at our email, and I'll get in touch with Jason, or I'll send Jason your way. So we should probably talk about what's going to happen this season.
So we took a really long time coming up with this season's topic, and we did run through some topics that I think we'll be maybe saving or revisiting for later
Yeah, for
seasons.
sure.
But this season, we are covering just cold cases, unsolved mysteries in the Lone Star State. I'm going to be
Ooh,
having mine be
I
Austin
got a little chill.
focused.
We do have to be careful because I do live in the city, so we can't necessarily talk about what we really want to talk about or what we've learned. Being on this podcast has opened up a lot of opportunities for me personally. You know, people whose loved ones have gone missing, and people who have had insane things happen to them that we just cannot talk about
Right.
publicly. So maybe in the future when I can move out of the city, like then maybe we could talk, more about that kind of stuff. But as of right now, like we have to kind of keep it,
Under
you
wraps.
know, under wraps. Also have a special guest every month for this season, named Amanda. And actually probably I think her partner is going to be coming on with her too.
Oh, okay, excellent. I thought she was someone else. And I kicked her out of the group.
Oh my God.
So, Amanda, I'm so sorry.
I felt so bad because that's totally my fault. Because I was like, oh my God, if this person or this person tries to join, kick them immediately.
Yeah.
To your benefit, one of the ladies I said don't let in did start with the same first letter of their name. So I feel like
I was like, they look maybe alike if I remember correctly.
yeah.
And the name's good enough. So boot her.
And that's our special guest
Yeah.
next season.
So sorry,
But,
Amanda. Love you so much.
Yeah.
Let me go ahead and tell you about the case I'm covering. I am covering the cold case for Grace Chen. Grace is not her first name. She did come to Austin from China, and her first name, I have no idea how to say it, and I don't want to butcher it, but she was known as Grace. Not a lot is really kind of known about her early life in China. She moved to the United States where she made a living teaching Chinese. she moved to Austin, and in 2009, she opened up the Grace Language and Cultural Institute that was located in the Galleria Oaks shopping center.
So she was like kind of like a public, I mean, she was kind of a big deal.
Yeah, she did. I mean, she got here and she made her way and she did a great job, and I'm sure all of that was I'm sure a real struggle, but everybody, like, she was very involved in the Chinese community. Everybody loved her. Everybody said she was a great teacher, a wonderful person. God.
Jasmine, what are we doing with our lives?
I know. Everybody, everybody, they say, like, oh, yeah, they really lit up the room. I make the lights flicker when I come in the room.
Yeah, when I enter the room, people turn off the lights.
Just so unexpected and so not true.
No, it's true. They're like, oh, yeah, we'll call you. Yeah, sure, we'll call you.
Grace.
So Grace was a joy to be around.
She was. She was a real gem.
She graced everyone with her presence.
Yes.
Basically is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Oh.
So on February 19th, 2014, Grace was found asphyxiated.
Say that word 3 times in a row.
Oh, shit, I can't even say it once.
Asphyxiated.
In what was described as a common area bathroom in the Galleria Oaks shopping center, but the bathroom was only accessible to businesses, but not customers, from what I understand. It was a common area bathroom for people who had businesses around there. She was last seen teaching. Well, she was last seen in her teaching center, which was on the second floor of the shopping center. Now, this is where it gets a little questionable, because multiple sources say that her husband is the one who found her. But I did see that other sources say that someone else who worked at the Galleria found her. But if her husband is the one who found her, then that really brings up some very good points later on. Yeah. So, police believed that she was murdered about 2 hours before she was found. The call came into them reporting a woman murdered in the bathroom at around 3:30 p.m. on February 19th. And her death was ruled a homicide, but police won't confirm whether or not strangulation was the cause. They just say that it's the asphyxiation. Asphyxiation.
What? Wait. So that means, okay, so if she was found at 3:30 p.m., that means that she was probably killed around 1:30, which is basically around lunchtime.
Yeah. And she was found in one of the stalls also. So I neglected to mention that. She was found allegedly by her husband or someone else, I guess, in one of the stalls in the bathroom. So a lot of details haven't been released since it is a cold case. We don't know, was the door closed? Like, was the door open? We don't really know. I mean,
well, like, I want to know is that when they say that this bathroom isn't accessible but to like patrons, does that mean that you have to have a key, or is it?
I would assume,
or is it maybe?
I would assume it's either under lock and key or you have to have like a key card or something to get in there.
Right. Or maybe it's like back behind, like, because I know in some, like, if like at the mall, for instance, there's little alleyways kind of back behind shops sometimes.
Right.
Like, but like inside, not like outside, like an alleyway inside that you can like,
Get
you can
into.
go out and then, yeah. And I'm wondering if maybe there's bathrooms back there or, or what? Because that's pretty interesting. Because if it's not under lock and key,
Uh-huh.
I mean, you can't really control who can go, people can slip back there all the time.
That's true. Well, this also was on the second floor of the Galleria.
Oh, that's true. So yeah, it probably was under a lock and key or something like that.
Lock and key or something.
Yeah, or like, you're right, like a badge or whatever.
Yeah, something, some kind of...
Huh. So that it was somebody that like worked there or,
yeah,
or knew about it.
Right, exactly. Least. Exactly. So that kind of, you would think it would narrow down like the list of the suspects.
Right. But I mean, you never know.
You never know. I mean, you really, truly don't. So with the investigation, there really isn't a lot of publicity available with like the information regarding the actual investigation. Initially, there were absolutely no leads, but it is a case that's actively still being worked. As of 2017, detectives assigned to the case did say that they're confident that it is still solvable. There are still tips coming in and leads are being followed. They say that there's definitely been some good leads and that they think that they could definitely bring this one to a resolution. It's only a matter of time. They don't have any large breaks, but there is enough to work with that they could eventually get it solved, they believe.
I mean, I'm not trying to like say anything, but statistically it's usually the husband.
Yeah. Well, there hasn't been any public news regarding the case since that statement was made in 2017. But Grace's son, Jackie, reached out to the public in 2020, just pretty much begging anybody with any sort of information to come forward, and said basically that the case might be cold, but that hope's not lost on it. So
yeah,
now,
for sure.
Yeah. So I'm going to get into the theories. Which,
yes.
There is three theories.
Okay.
So the main theory, and the one that I think everybody believes, and you'll find out why, is that the husband did it. Right. Which, it makes sense if the bathroom was under lock and key or you had to have some sort of badge. How the hell did he get in there? I don't think that he was super involved in her school, or if he did have a business, but I don't know if it was out of the Galleria, and that's probably something that I should have looked up, and I didn't. So, well, I mean, I can look it up real quick.
We don't get paid for this, so you're not. So you're not in danger of losing your job, basically.
Okay. Okay. So obviously, that was something that I should have looked into, and I didn't. But investigators did publicly state that her husband was a person of interest. A year after Grace's murder, he was arrested on art theft charges totaling around $100,000. He was arrested for high dollar art theft.
Oh, this is some fucking Ocean's 11 bullshit is what this is.
I know. Wow. And I guess because he moved from New York to Texas, the charges were considered federal.
Ooh, oh.
So
fucked up.
I know. So the speculation is that this crime, which took place a year later, but just connections to him doing this type of thing, somehow led to Grace's murder, either at the hands of the husband himself or a disgruntled art dealer or buyer or whatever. He was sentenced to a 2-month stint in federal prison.
Are you joking?
Yeah, for interstate 2 months for interstate sale of stolen property. So according to a federal complaint, he worked for an art company in New York from 2001 to September of 2009 before he quit and moved to Texas. He sold some of the stolen paintings on eBay through the name Grace Fine Art Institute in Austin.
Shut up. He was using her name.
I know. I know it. It's ridiculous.
This guy, no, that's not a good guy.
So he began his sentence on July 6th and he was released September the 2nd.
God, that blows my mind. That, like, literally, that's fraud. That he just committed fraud, and people go to prison. I know I said this last season, but literally, people go to prison for pot for years.
Yeah, there's still people in there for life for pot.
Yeah, crazy.
So he was released and ordered to serve 3 years on a supervised release and pay $84,000 in restitution. Public records do show that he petitioned a judge to travel to China to get married shortly after his release, but that request was denied. And investigators, last we heard, can't confirm his whereabouts. So the second theory is that the murder, which you can never tell now how true or not true this might be, but the second theory is that the murder might have been related to the school, that possibly like a student of Grace's like became infatuated with her and their behavior escalated, or something along those lines of just fatal attraction type of thing. So this theory is totally just speculation. There's no evidence of anything like that happening or any kind of testimony that suggested that any of the students felt that way about Grace or that they were interested in her. I mean,
that's a crime of passion. I mean, I feel like being murdered in a stall from asphyxiation is kind of like a passionate thing.
Yeah. No, I would agree with you. I would think so. But, something like a strangulation, like that does take a really long time and you have to have a significant amount of pressure. I mean, it doesn't say whether or not it was strangulation.
Strangulation, right. I'm assuming that it's a strangulation. Unless the only other thing I would think it could be is like wrapping something around her throat and
or like stuffing something in her mouth and she can't breathe. And the third theory is kind of a two-parter and just something that's going to come with, I think, any unsolved murder, and especially the second part of it just being cultural differences, which is just crime of opportunity and or just hate crime. Like maybe they wanted to rob her, and then obviously being so involved in the Chinese community, that could have also been a motive.
Yeah, and you would have to question like how somebody would have gotten back there.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like if it was just somebody that wanted to rob her, you would think too, if you are planning on robbing somebody, you would have some kind of like knife or a weapon.
Right.
And strangulation seems kind of odd for like...
No, I agree with that.
For like robbing. But what do I know? I've never robbed anybody except for their hearts.
Exactly. So... If you or anyone you know have any information regarding the murder of Grace Chen, APD is asking that you contact them at 512-742-TIPS so that they can get her friends and family some answers and bring her murderer to justice.
I hope somebody hears this and somebody has a tip on what had happened, because that's got to be so hard for her. I'm assuming her family's back in China still. You
I,
know what I mean?
yeah, I believe that her son travels to and from, but I might be wrong. But her son did reach out to the public and ask, for any help, and gave
Right.
like heartbreaking stories about how he had attended a wedding and he saw like them dancing with their parents, and he was like, well, I'm never gonna have that. You know what I mean? So,
Oh, God, that's sad. So, my cold case comes from Dallas, Texas. It's the case of Carolyn Montgomery. And I'm going to go ahead and read it out to you because I'm bad at ad-libbing.
okay.
So, um, on the morning of August 8th, 1971, 28-year-old single mother Carolyn Montgomery was stabbed to death in her tiny two-bedroom apartment that she shared with her 6-year-old son, Daquan, and her roommate, another cocktail waitress Carolyn worked for at the Willow Creek Country Club in North Dallas. Carolyn had recently separated from Daquan's father, and as a newly single mother, Carolyn oftentimes would leave 6-year-old Daquan home alone while she picked up extra shifts, often working nights at the country club.
Damn.
I mean, this is back in the 70s. Like,
Yeah, I suppose
people,
that was allowed back then.
yeah, my brother fell out of so many cars. Just did
Really?
not. Yeah,
Didn't phase him. He's
didn't
just like,
phase him.
whatever.
Um, on the night of August 7th, 1971, Carolyn was working and her roommate was out of town visiting her parents in Marshall, Texas. So 6-year-old Daquan put himself to bed in the room he shared with his mother and fell fast asleep. Police estimated sometime after 1:30 a.m. on the morning of August 8th, shortly after returning from home from her shift at the country club, Carolyn was brutally murdered in the living room feet away from where Daquan slept.
Jesus Christ.
Could you imagine? Ugh,
I
that poor thing.
literally couldn't. Oh my
Mm-mm.
God. That's
At a
horrifying.
Well, he slept through it. He was
But
probably worried about that the whole time. He's like,
yeah.
"Oh God, what if my son wakes up?" You know what I mean?
God. Oh.
I know.
Ew.
I know.
That's awful.
I know. At around 4:45 a.m., the Sunday newspaper was delivered to the door of the apartment. When Daquan woke up around 8:30 later that morning, the newspaper had been brought in.
I don't
Yeah.
like that.
Wee woo. Mm-mm. Daquan recalls waking up and seeing his mother laying on the floor of the living room with a sheet covering her body.
God.
There was
The,
a blanket and everything else, said Daquan Montgomery. I thought she's sleeping on the floor, so I went out to play. I mean, the guy's 6 years old. Like he
yeah,
just
he
didn't
doesn't know
understand.
what's going on.
Uh-uh. After spending an undetermined amount of time riding his bicycle around the neighborhood, Daquan went back to their apartment to find his mother still in the same position on the floor. Now, thinking something could be terribly wrong, 6-year-old Daquan Montgomery pulled back the sheet that covered his mother's body and, without fully understanding what he was looking at, went to find help from his neighbor. His neighbor, an unidentified man, they never said his name, didn't know the severity of the situation at the Montgomery apartment and sent a girl around the same age as Daquan to check
Oh,
on Carolyn.
no. That's
Yeah,
horrible.
yeah, yeah. Could you imagine, like, the guilt that guy probably has? Like, I would feel so bad if I sent 2 6-year-olds,
Yeah.
basically.
To
I
go
think this
look.
girl was
Oh,
actually, I think she was actually 5. So,
my
yeah,
God.
I know. Um, the neighbor girl, they never specified. I could never find any information if, like, this was his daughter or his stepdaughter or just a girl that happened to be
Hanging around.
around. Yeah, or if, like, maybe she was a neighbor of his, maybe a neighbor of his, or I don't know, because it's an apartment complex. So,
Right.
um, the neighbor girl pulled the sheet covering Carolyn's body and discovered a 9-inch butcher knife protruding from Carolyn's neck. The two went back to the neighbor and told him what they discovered, and he immediately called the police. When the police arrived, they discovered Carolyn's body on the floor, face up and arms stretched out beside her. Along with the stab wound on her throat, Carolyn had also been stabbed by a smaller paring knife in her abdomen where it remained at the time of her discovery.
My God.
Could you imagine that? Like, as a child? Like,
right.
Like, seeing that? Oh, God.
Like, from anybody, but let alone, like, your parent who you've spent the entire night, like, laying next to, as far as you know. And for there to be two different knives.
Yeah. Yeah. What the fuck? One of her breasts had almost been completely severed, and she had bite marks all over her body.
Oh, my God.
Carolyn had been stabbed repeatedly at least 10 times. Bruising on her arm suggested she fought back. She was also nude from the waist down. Most of her clothes were found scattered around her body, but her shorts were found underneath her, indicating that they were cut off with a sharp object while she was still wearing them. Carolyn's body was also wiped clean of any blood, and the murderer took the time to cover her body. That to me sounds like this is somebody who knew her.
Yeah. Well, that to me sounds like it was somebody who, that's definitely like a crime of passion, you know, and it's something that like it takes a lot of infatuation and like heavily romantic feelings to attack someone's body in that way. So, and she was a cocktail waitress, right? So there's no telling like how many, you know, men, I mean, or women, I don't want to like single out any possibilities, but there's no but primarily, you know, I mean, if
like statistically, statistically, like women
are murdered by men.
Well, no, statistically, women who murder do it slowly, and they don't, because they don't want to see it. Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Where men do it more violently. So, I mean, I would say this is probably done by a man.
By a man, right? And I mean, definitely, like it seems that way. It seems like somebody that she maybe was working with, or like a regular of hers or something. Yeah. You know, probably followed her home if she like spurred his advances.
So neighbors did confirm that they saw her entering her apartment around 2 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
So, alone? I mean, it could have, alone. So it could have easily been somebody that had just followed her,
you know, and waited from the bar.
Right. I don't know if Daquan kept the door locked. I mean, at 6 years old, I don't know. I don't know if I don't know if somebody was already in the apartment when she got home.
Right.
You would think that Daquan would have woken up, but he's 6, like, you know what I mean? Or something. Yeah. I mean, I hate to say it, but usually, you know, something would have happened to him if it was just like, you know.
Yeah, if it was just like to eliminate witnesses or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe the person doesn't know her because maybe they didn't know about Daquan. If somebody knew her intimately, they would know that she had a 6-year-old son that lived with her.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean?
That's what makes it all the more likely to me that it's just somebody who like followed her home, you know, and wasn't aware of what was going on in her household.
Well, listen to this, Jasmine. Just listen to this.
Okay.
The rest of the apartment showed no signs of a struggle, except for her roommate's room, which had been ransacked. Other than the drawers being pulled open and things being thrown around the roommate's room, there were no signs of forced entry, and the attack didn't register enough sound to wake up Daquan or any of the neighbors. Police found a note on a chair not far from Carolyn's body saying, "The wrong one, I'm sorry," scratched into the cardboard backing of an 8x10 photograph. So
what if they meant to attack the roommate at the whole time?
I mean, that's what it seems like, but what if they just did that to throw off the police? I don't know, because like they knew what room to go to. If they were just ransacking any room, or just like why didn't they pick the one where Daquan was?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
Handwriting analysis wouldn't be able to determine any findings because the note wasn't written in pen or pencil, but rather it was carved into the cardboard using a sharp object.
That would have taken forever.
Yeah, it really would have. And also, like, I saw a picture of this, and maybe I'll post it when we post the update or whatever
Uh-huh.
for the podcast. The word sorry is underlined like several, I think like two or three times. Whoever did it, like went over each letter a, a couple times. You know what I mean?
Right.
So they sat there and made it. It was intentional. That's
right.
for sure.
Yeah.
Carolyn's case was given to the Dallas Murder Squad, where 3 detectives were assigned to her case full time. One of the detectives referred to Carolyn's murder as one of the most gruesome he had ever seen, and also stated that the note left at the crime scene could have indicated Carolyn's roommate was the actual target, along with the ransacking of her room. This would seem most obvious. However, he also speculated that it could also be staged in order to throw the detectives off the trail. Many people were questioned during the investigation into Carolyn's murder, but all were accounted for the night of her death. Along with Daquan's father, Carolyn's estranged husband, a couple who knew Carolyn's roommate were also questioned. The roommate had an ongoing affair with the man in the couple, and the woman had recently found out.
Wow.
Yeah. They were both ultimately cleared, however. At the time of Carolyn Montgomery's murder, there was a slew of murders in the Dallas area that were later dubbed bizarre lust murders. Although some were solved, many remained unsolved and possessed similarities to that of Carolyn's case. Did Carolyn Montgomery know her murderer? Or was she a victim of an unknown serial killer lurking in the Dallas area in the 70s? Carolyn's case remains unsolved.
I would be very interested to know, like, what leads they have come across since the time of whatever articles you looked up for the source. Like, what all are they doing?
Well, the problem is with Carolyn's case is that a lot of the evidence was destroyed because the killer like wiped away the blood, right?
Right.
But also they just didn't know that. I mean, you had
that technology
that,
was going to be, and technology and the fact that 2 kids came to the crime scene before anybody else, you know.
Right. So like
makes sense.
And they touched the sheets, and they, who knows if he accidentally stepped on her or whatever.
Right.
So a lot of the evidence has been destroyed, but I'm not sure what they're doing. I mean, it's been in the cold case files. Now, there has been a couple of podcasts that have covered this case, which I thought, I was like, wow, I found a gem. Does anybody know about this? Because I never knew about it.
I had never heard of it.
Yeah, no, I haven't either. And I didn't even know anything about a serial killer in the Dallas area in the 70s either.
Yeah, I've never heard that. But I mean, it makes sense, I guess. Dallas is big, but I've never heard that.
Here's something else too, is that her apartment, it was really close to the Love Field airport. Yeah, which at the time was like the only airport in Dallas. So it could have been literally, it could have been anybody. It could have been, she worked an odd hours.
Yeah.
She could have gotten home. Somebody could have been walking by and just some fucking pervert could have just saw her and thought, hey, here's an opportunity. That would make sense since he didn't know about Daquan, or because I think if somebody knew there was a possibility that they could have been caught by a child.
Yeah.
One, they probably wouldn't have gone after her, or 2, they would have killed him too.
Yeah, no,
you know what I mean?
I agree.
It could be a possibility that this was just somebody who had no connection to her, and maybe she looked like somebody that this person loved or had some kind of weird relationship with, like with Ed Gein, or not Ed Gein. Well, yeah, Ed Gein and his mother, or Ed Kemper and his mother. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She was a small woman. She was under 5 foot, and she was tiny. Um, it's a sad case because, he was basically, he was raised without his mom. The Dallas Police Department is asking anybody who knows anything about Carolyn's murder to please come forward. And you can contact them at 214-671-3661. Callers who wish to remain anonymous may call Crime Stoppers. It's time for her to get justice.
Definitely.
It's time for her son to know the reason why. This is a lot heavier than what we did before. That's for sure.
Definitely. Ugh. Okay.
I know. I know. We're like, yeah, this will be easy. Wrong.
God damn. What a hell of a first episode of the season.
Let me go ahead and so I do want to do a missing person still.
Okay, perfect.
This case, this missing person case, is a minor. His mother and I have been in contact. I know a lot more about his case than I am willing to talk about. So his name is Graham Freeman. He's 16 years old. He's from Pflugerville, Texas, and he's 5'11" and 160 pounds at the time of his disappearance. Now, he went missing September 9th, 2023. He had a pink and purple spray ground backpack, and he has no tattoos or recognizable marks. Now, he was seen on camera at the end of September on a CCTV cam. So they do know, as far as the end of September, as far as like September 30th, I believe, that he is still alive at that.
Okay.
They believe that he is being held. If you see him, to call the Austin Police Department, or you can call this number at 512-990-6542. His mother has been like just working her ass off trying to find him and try to get him home. So he's kind of a priority case. I know I've personally shared him before on my social media, but I will also put him on the Nosey Nancies social media.
Okay, perfect. Well, hopefully we can get some help for Graham and his mom.
I think that's it. For me.
That's it for me.
Yeah.
I got nothing.
That was it. That was the big.
You heard it all.
What a great first episode.
I know.
Right?
Congratulations, us.
Yeah. Surprise. Look, with my abandonment issues, I'm surprised we've even got to season 2, to be honest.
I know. It's because we have that tough love for each other.
If you like our podcast, you can find us on Facebook.
It's Nosey Nancies podcast. Oh yeah, we got a page.
Yeah, we got a page now. So that's also Nosey Nancies podcast. So you can please follow that page. That would be great.
Follow the page, join the group.
Yes.
There's no special instructions for the page.
No, there's not. We also have an Instagram.
That's Nosey Nancies.
A TikTok, which is Nosey Nancies podcast, and we are working. So we do have little treats for people if they want to sign up for our Patreon, but we haven't got our Patreon up yet.
We're in the works on things, but we beg your patience and your pardon, but it's coming soon.
Yeah, the Patreon's coming soon, and I think, Jazz, you're working on the website, right?
I'm working on a website with a tentative running date of, I don't know.
I mean, hey, we're honest.
Yeah.
You can't say that we're not.
Yeah.
If you do have any questions, if you do need to get in touch with us, we have a little bit of resources that we can help you with. Not a lot, but we do have a teeny tiny smidge of resources. So if you have somebody that, you know that's missing, or if you know of a cold case somewhere, anywhere, like I don't mind. Please, like, email us. Let's get the word out. But our email is noseynancies@gmail.com. That's NOSEYNANCIES@gmail.com. And we're always looking for, like, feedback, or or a love note, whatever you wanna
send our way. Go ahead.
Yeah.
We'll look at it. Yeah. I have a hard time understanding.
Yeah.
That's it. All right. Well, congratulations. And welcome back.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
I think I just swallowed a bug. God. Oh my god, is that a sign? Is that the devil trying to possess me? Oh my god. This is the Day of the Dead. This is the Day of the Dead. I'm being possessed. Oh, Jesus. Y'all, we'll see you next week.
Stay tuned.
Ciao.
C'est la vie, ma